Before we begin our regular board meeting, we have our public hearing for the 2022 Truth in Taxation. Our Deputy Village Clerk, Nancy Adams, will be with us this evening. Roll call, please.
Trustee Purcell. Trustee Baloo. Trustee Willis.
Here.
Trustee Harris Jones.
Here.
Trustee Hyperman.
Here.
Trustee Roman.
Here.
President Hope.
Here. Our Finance Director, Dennis Bubanek, will lead us through this.
Nationally, we saw inflation take off this past year. The media reports inflation has not seen these levels since the 1980s. The national increase in inflation affects us here at local government as our real estate tax levy is limited to the increase in inflation plus a factor for new construction. Inflation's at 7%, new construction estimate is at 1%, that totals 8%. But the 7% inflation is capped at 5% by the state tax cap rules. So we have 6% tonight, 5% inflation, 1% new construction. Any increase over 5% requires the local government to hold a truth in taxation hearing, which is what we will get into. To the memo. The purpose is it's necessary for the village board to discuss setting the real estate tax levy under the rules applied to a non-home rule community each year. We discussed the draft levy on November 8th, and tonight we are discussing the final levy. So tonight is December 13th. The process, the tax levy is the amount of money a taxing body can request from overall property taxes paid by residents and businesses in the district. Tax levy dollars provide approximately 9.5% of the revenue needed for our day-to-day operations, 72% of the revenue needed to cover pensions and Social Security and Medicare, and 100% of the revenue needed to pay general obligation, debt, principal, and interest expenses. So if you remember from November 8th, we did not have from Cook County, they were a bit behind. My laser pointer's not working. And so we didn't have column B. So we did do an estimate off of column A, the data that we had. And we found that we were 97% close with our estimates using column B. But we can see there that we have our general fund, which is our day-to-day levy, $2,063,694. And we have our pensions, which we found out just recently needed additional real estate tax dollar allocations, $4,332,100. There is our 6% that the tax caps limit us to, 5% inflation, 1% estimate for new construction. We start the process by implementing or inputting the pension part of the levy. And then we basically back into the day-to-day operations. Any additional dollars for pensions has to come from our day-to-day operations. And that's what we found happening this year since our meeting on November 8th. The state mandated consolidation of all independently run police pension and fire pension funds in 2022. And that should be an improvement in the long run, according to the state. The actual report from the state arrived the week of November 28th. It had $515,549 more than we discussed on November 8th. So we did input that additional amount into pensions, and it had to come from our day-to-day operations. So I've been talking about that for years. If you add more to pensions, you got to take it from day-to-day, and vice versa. If we would add more to day-to-day, we would have to take it from pensions. But we feel this year by taking it and with the pension dollars, that should help us in the long run now that the state has consolidated these independently run police and fire pension funds. So we'll see though, this can take some time. Then at the end, it's not on our screen up there, but we have our debt obligations below our tax capped amounts. Debt very low in Homewood, $534,770. So it gives us, when we take that on top of our pensions and our day-to-day, we have a total levy, $6,941,564, an increase of 3.3%. On November 8th, we talked about 3.8%, so a little bit less than we talked about on November 8th, though. But with inflation at 7% and our total levy at 3.3%, that's positive. If you want to go to that other graph. Napoleon. And there's our pensions. That's kind of what's been going on for the past 10 years. More and more dollars going towards pensions requires less and less day to day. So again, been speaking about that for years. It's if you're doing more pension, you got to do less day to day under tax cap rules. So we can kind of see where we're at right now. Obviously going to be a big challenge going forward the next 10 years to maintain that type of a difference between pensions and day-to-day operations. We do get a lot of money from sales tax, and it's a good thing because that helps that we're getting more sales tax money because we're getting less pension money to do our day-to-day operations. And that last graph, Napoleon. So property taxes, what are they? Complaints come to Village Hall, but property taxes really is a school funding wave to raise revenue. So we get our high schools at about 36%, elementary school at 35%. So you can see you're already over 2/3 of your tax bill is going to support the schools who don't have like sales tax and some of the things we have. And there we are at about 10%, an important 10%, but we're more sales tax and some of the other taxes are a bigger deal when we get to our budget discussions. The outcome, the real estate tax levy again is $6,941,564, an overall increase of 3.3%. Dollars allocated to police and fire pension have increased by $473,137. Tax dollars allocated to day-to-day operating needs decreased by $111,180. Financial impact, increased pension funding levy requirements were made by an equal reduction to day-to-day operations levy. The final levy will be the basis for next fiscal year's property tax budget amounts. Recommended board action, hold a truth and taxation hearing to lead off the board meeting of December 13th, 2022, where we can discuss the 2022 real estate tax levy. There's some ordinances later on as a regular meeting for a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bubenek. Comments or questions from anyone in the audience? Board comments, Trustee Willis. Trustee Harris Jones, Trustee Heiferman,
I have nothing tonight.
Trustee Roman.
Nothing from me.
What's particularly noteworthy is of the real estate tax levy, 70% of that is going to pensions and to our small debt. It's just amazing. Thank God we have sales tax revenues and other revenues. Otherwise, we would really be in difficult straits. With that, may I have a motion to adjourn from the Truth and Taxation meeting, please?
Second.
Been moved by Trustee Heiferman, seconded by Trustee Roman. Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis. Aye. Trustee Harris
I do.
Jones. Aye. Trustee Heiferman. Trustee Roman. Aye.
We stand adjourned from the Truth and Taxation hearing. With that, welcome to the village board meeting of December 13th. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Adams.
Trustee Purcell. Trustee Baloo. Trustee Willis. Here. Trustee Harris Jones. Here. Trustee Heiferman. Here. Trustee Roman. Here. President Hopewell.
Here. Representing staff this evening, to my left, our village manager Napoleon Haney, to my right, our village attorney Chris Cummings, to the audience's right, our finance director Dennis Bubenek, economic and community development director Angela Maceras, and public works director John Schaefer. The minutes of November 22nd, additions or corrections, Trustee Willis. Trustee Harris Jones. Trustee Heiferman. Trustee Roman.
Nothing.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Roman, seconded by Trustee Harris Jones. Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis. Aye. Trustee Harris Jones. Aye. Trustee Heiferman. Aye. Trustee Roman. Aye.
The minutes are approved. The claims list in the amount of $863,963.58. Again, Trustee Willis, comments or questions? Trustee Harris Jones. Trustee Heiferman. Trustee Roman.
No questions.
May I have a motion to approve the claims list, please?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by trustee Roman, seconded by trustee Harris Jones. Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis. Aye. Trustee Harris Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Hyperman. Aye. Trustee Roman.
Aye.
The claims list is approved. Of that almost $864,000 claims list, 3 items comprise the bulk of that. Our payment to the city of Chicago Heights for water was $284,000. 1 month's village employees' health insurance, $239,000. Our payment to Thorn Creek Sanitary District was $86,000. That amounted to $609,000, or 70% of the claims list. Hear from the audience. If anyone would like to address the board on any subject not on the agenda, please raise your hand. Is this regarding an agenda item?
It's not gonna argue that, it's just to talk about what's happened.
What's happened?
Good evening. My name is Rachel Shores. Some of you may know me. I am the owner and proprietor of Be Well Studio here in Homewood. I've lived here for over 20 years. I've worked in this town for almost 10 years. I've owned Be Well Studio for 8.5 years. I love working and caring for this community. My clients come from out of town, our surrounding communities, and as far away as the western suburbs. We survived COVID, being shut down for 5 months. I run a collaborative workspace, and that's how we did it. It works much like a salon that does booth rentals. We are a group of wellness professionals working independently, but sharing common areas, waiting room, office, and break room. Over the years, we've had a combination of talk therapy, massage, bodywork, skincare, and private yoga. We are all women business owners. It requires finding the right combination of people to make a space like this successful. I am one of the 9 businesses that is being ousted from the building at 17900 Dixie Highway. This is the building that has been slated to be torn down to install the new water tower. I did not plan to move my business. I had no warning, was told repeatedly by the landlord that our lease was being renewed. We had not financially prepared to relocate. I would have stayed at that location for probably another 15 years. Finding a suitable space to keep all 4 of us together was very difficult. We need water, rooms large enough to run our business, parking, and a secure waiting room. Storefronts are expensive and not built for our needs. Most are old and not up to current codes. We tried designing several different spaces. My husband and I spent months looking. He spent sketching them out, trying to work the numbers for the rehab, working on layout, material costs. No building owners were willing to help financially with the build out. We finally found a way to make one space on Martin work, but the build out would require everything to be brought up to current code. We also now needed an architect. This put us over budget. Lisa, that's the space renter with me, and I were both willing to invest. I took out a loan. I have a loan. We had $50,000 in loan funds, but that still wasn't enough. We needed another $22,000. This is all without a construction crew. My husband and I would have done all the construction. We would have hired a plumber and an electrician. When we brought it back to Angela that this deal was dead unless the village could assist us with $22,000, the response was that she was sorry to hear it. I'm not suggesting that having spaces brought up to code is the issue, but lack of support for small businesses is where I have an issue. There's very little funding that we qualified for. None of the spaces were in the TIF district. We don't own the property. We don't have big retail. There were no extra considerations given for the fact that we are in this position as a direct result of the decision made by the village to put a water tower here. We were not even offered rent relief, which would have saved us over $13,000. This would have allowed us to move forward with the build out. I need the money that I applied for that's on the agenda today. It's half the cost of the materials I need for flooring and sound minimizing, but it's a drop in the bucket to what I have lost. I have lost my colleagues, 2 of them to Indiana. Lisa's worked in this town for over 20 years. Now I will work alone. I have lost income. I am losing over a week of work to prepare the new space and move my business. I have paid closing costs and interest on a loan for a build out that I do not now need. I have moving costs, both financial and time, and the hardest one to take. I will be taking a $12,000 loss, pay cut as a direct result of the loss of income from my current business model being lost. It would be helpful to be awarded the full amount of the material costs, as I've not asked for help paying for installation. There's not time to hire an installer. We have to be out by the end of this month. To be honest, I almost let all this go. It really sucks, but I didn't feel singled out. Just a casualty of bigger village needs. I thought, well, there just isn't enough money to help everyone. That's the way it goes sometimes. But the new restaurant is getting $850,000 in assistance. Now I'm mad. There is money, just not for me. There's a lot of talk about loving small businesses in Homewood, but it feels like lip service. Everybody loves our donations, but where's the return support? I'm staying here, but it's been months of struggle. It takes all sizes and types of businesses to keep a town vibrant. And I'm asking you to think about how money is allocated and make changes going forward so that there is real support to our small business community that often falls through the cracks.
Thank you. Your item is the first one on the consent agenda. Anyone else care to address the board on any other subject not on the agenda? Okay. The consent agenda, Mrs. Adams.
The board is asked to approve an application for Rachel Shores, owner of Be Well Studio, who plans to relocate her business to 2023 Ridge Road, second floor. The business incentive from the non-TIF business incentive program for facade and property improvements is in the amount of $2,190.36 and will be for building improvements. The board is asked to approve ordinance MC 1067 to increase the number of Class 1 tobacco retailer licenses by one for 2138 Homewood Incorporated, doing business as Go-To Market Shell, opening at 2138 183rd Street. The license will be on hold pending a background check. The board is asked to approve resolution R 3132, allowing for the transfer of funds from the Southwest Central Business District TIF, which expires December 31st, and transfer the remaining funds to the Downtown Transit Oriented Development TIF, which will help redevelop the downtown area. The Southwest Central Business District has been serving businesses along Ridge Road east of Dixie Highway since 1999. The Downtown Transit Oriented Development is adjacent to the Southwest District. The board is asked to reject the bids for a water main replacement along Marlin Avenue. The bids came in well over budget. The board is asked to approve several ordinances that relate to the 2022 tax levy. Ordinance M 2231 covers the levying of taxes for corporate purposes and for special funds for the fiscal year starting May 1st, 2023 and ending on April 30th, 2024. Ordinance M 2232 covers an increase in the 2022 street and bridge tax levy. Ordinance M 2233 directs the Cook County Clerk to reduce the village's 2022 levy, if necessary, to comply with the property tax extension limitation law. The board is asked to approve the cancellation of the December 27 meeting of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the audience with regard to these matters? Board comments, Trustee Willis. Trustee Harris Jones,
Nothing for me.
Trustee Heiferman.
I have a comment on a couple of the items. I'll start with the first one. I appreciate your disappointment in the situation, and I certainly feel for you and for the situation and having to move, etc. But making reference to the award of the restaurant that's going in, it's really comparing apples and eggs. It's two different situations.
I know that. And
Please, trustee is speaking. Please, no interruptions.
And it really should be said publicly that that incentive is for a situation that's going to generate specific, there is a plan for that to be paid back. That incentive is over several years with a benefit to the village that we'll see over several years. And it may seem imbalanced, but it was I still support the decision we've made on both of them. They're both important and but they're two different situations completely. Regarding D, the Marlin Avenue project, I just have a question. I know we're delaying that. What can you tell us anything about that project? I'm just not familiar with it.
That's for the replacement of water main along Martin Avenue. Over the years, we've had numerous water main breaks on that street. We also have a street drainage issue that we'd like to take care of at the same time. We went out to bids for a couple of different methods of doing that work. Excuse me. As we all know, the cost of water main and everything has jumped, 30%. So the prices came in a lot higher than what we were expecting. So at this time, based on what our funding is in the water fund, and talking with Dennis in finance, we felt it would be better to delay this project a year, let our funds build up a little bit, and then go out to bid again.
It's still going to happen at some point.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Roman.
I also wanted to comment on Ms. Shore's comments, and I appreciate Trustee Hyperman explaining the difference between the two TIF incentives. But I really sympathize with everyone that's in that building. I've had conversations with a few of the tenants, and I mean, we could go into all of the circumstances on why it happened, but the long and short of it is the owner wanted to sell the building. So it was either going to go, and we were in a situation where we had to buy within a certain area for the water tower. So it was either going to go to us or it was going to go to a different landlord, which who knows what would have happened if it would have gone to a different landlord. You probably wouldn't have been told you had to leave, but rent probably would have gone up. The building, as you know, and I know all of the tenants that are in there know the building needed a lot of work. So the likelihood of that building being torn down by anyone and being rebuilt potentially is likely. So all of that to say, but I truly sympathize with everyone that's in there, and I've tried to help people as much as I could. And the other thing is, I wish we could give money to every small business in the community. I truly do. I see the comments, I see the people that want to open businesses and feel like they don't get the help from the village that other people get. But there are restrictions on what the money can go to. I would love to sit up here and say, I support giving you whatever you need to continue to have a thriving business. But the reality is we can't. There are rules that we have to follow with the funds and what the funds can go for. And I'm sure at some point that was explained to you. If it wasn't, please let me know. But this is the limit that we're able to do at this point. So I'm sorry that you're in the situation that you're in, and I'm glad that we're able to do something to help you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Did you want to add anything? Sure. Okay. To reinforce what Trustee Heiferman said with regard to the restaurant that received incentives, the best way to explain that is the incentives given are the monies in taxes that they are going to be generating. In a TIF, the real estate taxes go into that TIF, and they were assigned to this project. In addition to that, places for eating tax generated by the restaurant add up to that. And that's how that number was arrived at. With that, may I have a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Trustee Roman, seconded by Trustee Heiferman. Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis. Aye. Trustee Harris Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
The consent agenda is approved. General board discussion, Trustee Willis.
Nothing.
Trustee Harris Jones,
Happy holidays, everyone.
trustee Heiferman,
Good of it.
trustee Roman.
Same.
With that, we stand adjourned. Thank you all. Oh, let me get a motion. May I have a may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Been moved by trustee Roman, seconded by trustee Heiferman. Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis. Trustee Harris Jones. Trustee Heiferman. Trustee Roman.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.